Well, I figured I better do an update before people start freaking out about this silver stuff. Actually, I looked online. I just looked at one popular major silver, gold, platinum, and palladium site, and a lot of their stuff is out of stock. Not to say that, they don't have it or they don't have any desirable type of coins, but a lot of it's out of stock. Which means, there's a bottleneck at the end product coins. There's getting to be that, so whatever. But you still know, you can still get the stuff cheap, not much over spot. And what my advice is, if you don't have any or whatever, you don't have to keep adding. I mean, it's like, do whatever, if you already have a good stash, you don't need to keep adding. I always said, don't put all your money in one area. But just want to tell you, the price of commodities has always been something super erratic. Now, on my last update, because I just want to, I don't know if anybody who saw the last update, but I did state that the reason the commodities are down is not because of exactly what the silver crowd would be thinking. I think it is to punish Putin or to isolate Putin, knock down his cash flow. And I just want to state that again, because I don't think anybody, I didn't read this anywhere. It's just that I just put two and two together, because the last time they wanted to really knock down the Soviet Union or whatever it was, because it's starting to get to be the Soviet Union again, was when they brought down the commodities and oil prices, and that basically collapsed them. And you can see Putin's feeling the pain, because the 15th richest guy in Russia, he's under house arrest for embezzling money and all this kind of garbage and stuff. And I'm not going to mention any Russian names or anything. I know. But just to give you a little story about something. Now, I'm not going to even say what type of isotopes they are, but it's stuff that I was privy to that in an intricate and detailed basis that I was fairly close, actually pretty close to, on certain deals that went on with the Russians. And if you want to actually make your heart jump around, I know some people are jumping around with silver going up and down, but there's types of isotopes. I don't even want to say what kind they were, but they were, I was looking at the assays just now, saying, what the hell was it again? It was 6,000 euros per gram, not an ounce per gram, 6,000 euros or 8,000 US dollars per gram. So you got 31.1 grams in a troy ounce. So that made it like, almost $250,000 an ounce. They were stabilized in argon capsules, and they had, it sounds like I'm talking bull. I'm not. I'm telling you the truth, man. That's what I'm saying. Like this Forbes list with all this, when the Russians, billionaires have so much money, there's a lot of stuff that isn't on that list. They actually had metric tons of this stuff, and they would import it and export it through Latvia into Germany. And you don't need to put that much on a truck someplace to hide the junk. You know what I mean? To avoid the export tax. At least that's how I allegedly heard of it. But the valuations of these isotopes, if you're talking about the silver market going up and down, there's no spot market on these prices, and they go way the hell up and down. And actually, if you pay the guy that's the assayer, you can get, I don't know, I think they come up with any number they want. 6,000 euros per gram and 8,000 US dollars per gram, not an ounce. It makes gold look like dirt. It makes gold look like, some worthless pot metal or something. That's really what this stuff costs. But the price fluctuations is not like this. It's like all over the place. So, if you've been dealing with that, you're not gonna sweat out this silver stuff much at all. Now, the one thing is the unpredictable Middle East. I said this before, but I heard a brief summary of some of Lindsay Williams' stuff from Jay Snipe, and I just heard, it's same. I don't like that guy. I don't like Lindsay Williams. I think he's full of it. I'll be flat out. I think the guy doesn't know anybody. I mean, there's stuff I could say about things, but I just think, the USA is not really going down per se, like in the way people think. They're just looking to meld everything into a world financial system. They're not going to bring the United States down to a third world status. They're just going to force everything into a new world order. That's what they're doing. But it could still be that we could still have a mini spike before the ultimate crash. I think the ultimate crash, I've been saying this, is September 2015. Now, the way things are going, I'm thinking, wow, man, if that's going to be the ultimate crash. But silver has a way of doing crazy things before it gets hit hard. It doesn't take but 7 or 8 months for it to have a crazy run-up. And then it can crash inside of a week or a few days. And that's typically what it does. I mean, when we had that run-up in 2010, 2011, that started basically in September. Should have been starting already. We had a crash. And, it may not be exactly, in coordination the way it was, the way exactly date for date, but it could still happen. It could still happen very quickly. And then it can crash fast when we have the middle of the financial reset, the next one, which I think is going to be September 2015. Now, the one thing what really drove up silver back in 2011, was the war in Libya, with the oil prices going up. That could happen. I mean, there's a lot of stuff on the back burner right now. It's surprisingly it didn't happen already, but it doesn't take much for it to for that to happen. If there's some outbreak that happens right away, and some refineries get hit in Saudi Arabia and Iraq, if Straits of Hormuz is hit or something like that, oil price can go way to hell over $200 a barrel. Now, I'm going to tell you this. There's a couple things I'm going to be doing actually here for future videos. I think I'm going to get one of those HHO stainless steel plates with the, I don't know, it's the one that works the dry cell. I'm going to run that on my little Jeep thing, a 1.3 liter Jeep. I'm going to try that out for gas mileage. I'm going to do something on that in the future. I'm also going to be testing another subject, and actually kind of like with silver though, with colloidal silver, trying to make the particles much smaller. I've noticed that when the batteries were running low on the device I used to make the colloidal silver, it takes a long time to make it, and the silver rods don't get black, and the silver solution that results is clear. That's because it's taking off much. It's doing much smaller particles as silver. So I'm going to find out what voltage that is, and I'm going to run some experiments on it. It might take 12 to 20 hours to make a pint, but what it probably will result, very likely will result, is a clear solution of silver at say 7 or 8 parts per million that will get throughout the body much better and be more effective against microbes. The big problem why colloidal silver doesn't work is because the particles are too big. So I'm going to actually do some things on that, because that's another reason, if you don't have any silver at all, that's a reason to buy silver right there for even that. You want to have a good, at least, a couple rolls of it or something, even that. Now, the other thing is, I do a lot of health videos, and I have found out I was making a lot of liposoluble vitamin C, and I got 2 of these electronic cleaners burned out. I'm getting a commercial one. That can make like 2.5 quarts of liposoluble vitamin C at once. I just want to interject this in this video because I'll be getting on with this and other subjects in the future, but I'm going to be concentrating more on health subjects. But there's also another reason I'm not putting out the silver videos as much, is because I think when silver does take off, it's going to take off like a bat out of hell. And I'm just not going to argue with people about, the dollar's falling to oblivion. I'm going to sell the silver if it gets, not this physical stuff, but I'll sell the electronic stuff if the silver prices go like well over 45. I'll dump it. And I don't see that as unreasonable. Because if you look typically, it's the Middle East is the key. And we're kind of sitting on a powder keg. It's been going like that for years. Nothing's happened. But the last time something happened in the Middle East that was more extreme was with Libya. If that happens again, it's going to bring the prices up. But I said the one problem, I actually mentioned this on another video, that the problem, the dilemma of the West is, if they want to pursue policy in the Middle East, but if they do that, it's going to drive the price of oil and commodities way up, which is going to bring a lot more cash flow into Vladimir Putin's pocket. They don't want that to happen. See what I mean? That's the whole thing that's going on right now. That's really why the Middle East is on the back burner, more or less, because they don't want all the money going into Vladimir Putin's pocket, and that's why the commodities are down right now. I'm almost sure it is. I mean, I could read them like a book. I mean, I don't know what Vladimir Putin... Now, I don't think the elite on this side of the world totally expected Vladimir Putin to respond and do what he's doing right now. But since he's not playing ball, they're trying to, squeeze him financially. That's why they're bringing the commodity prices down. It's nothing to do with going after the gold and silver bugs. It's actually about going after Vladimir Putin. But, they got another issue on the other hand, is like they got this deal going on in the Middle East. So, if actually Vladimir Putin was gone out of the picture, which I don't think he is, it's going to be. If he was out of the picture, you would probably see something happen in the Middle East. And if they had somebody over in Russia that was dealing with the West better, you'd see the price of oil, gold, and silver go up. But I just got to state this about the Russian leaders, though, and I said this on another video. It's like they always make the people before them look like the bad guys, and they're the heroes. I'll tell you right now, the deal with Vladimir Putin right now is the big thing he fears is the next guy that comes into power is going to blame Vladimir Putin on all the problems that ever happened. It's just like Khrushchev blamed it on Stalin, and Brezhnev blamed it on Khrushchev, and Gorbachev blamed it on Brezhnev. I said this before. I said this last year. I was just watching something on YouTube about Russian disinformation, and I was like, yeah, that's exactly what they do. In the case with Vladimir Putin today, the memory of his wife that he was married to for 20-something years, but he was never around much, it's like she never was there. She never existed. It's like they erased her from the history books, So beware of his touted, popularity ratings, because it's probably BS, just like anything that comes out of the Kremlin. But, that is really why you're seeing the commodity prices suppressed right now. It is to punish Russia more than anything. And it helps the average American now. It spurs the economy. For every bit of, decrease in the price of gasoline at the pumps and diesel fuel for trucking will create a spur in the economy. So, just think of it that way and be patient on your investment. I'd rather just make the money and get. But I realize what goes on with commodities. They don't. They're not a flat, steady investment that goes like this. It's erratic, and you can't be afraid to part with it when it goes way up. It will go way up. It's not just about the debt, really, and that's my emphasis. It's going to be more about this Middle East situation that's going to bring this about. And, I'm not talking to some elite guy or anything like that, but it's quite obvious what's going on. They can't have this Middle East situation go forward and create all these problems where oil is going to go way the hell up through the roof, because it's going to cause a lot of money to go into Russia's hands. That's where they're stuck. So that's all on the back burner. And, when that happens, though, you'll see inside of not that many months, silver skyrocket to the max, and it'll crash fast, too. That's why, it's going to be hard to say where it's going to skyrocket, too. But, as soon as it starts going up, there's going to be immediate predictions on $100, $200 silver and all this garbage. And I'm like, yeah, okay. The dollar's going to zero. Yeah, sure. Anyway, so, the reason I say the currencies don't go to zero is because they could just change something by proclamation. It's, in other words, it's legal tender forced by the government. Even if it became worth less money per your hard goods, it's still going to be the legal tender of this country. Even if we get melded into the New World Order, for the next upcoming years, the U.S. dollar is going to be the currency of this country, United States. It may lose its world reserve currency status, but it's going to be the currency of this country. It's not going to be going to Zimbabwe currency. They're not going to allow that. The United States has a very powerful oil exploration and oil production platform going. We have a lot of gold we can bring online from not just California, but also from Alaska. They know where all this stuff is. We got the equipment to freaking mine gold fast as all hell. It would surprise the hell out of you. If it was a national emergency, we had. But you know what's really more important than gold is oil. And the USA is on the way to be the number one oil producer in the world. So our currency, in fact, is backed by oil. Our oil, not OPEC oil, our oil. That's why when it goes up, I'm not going to be afraid to take U.S. dollars. But for now, I'm not worried about it. You know, I've seen things fluctuate far more. I've seen prices of real estate drop faster than the price of silver and things like that. And, you know, I know to be patient. So, and you should too. So that's why I always said you don't put all your eggs in one basket. And I'm not one of those advocates that the U.S. dollar is going to zero. And again, the main reason the silver's going down right now, along with the other commodities, in my opinion, I'm pretty damn sure it is though, is they want to punish Russia, Vladimir Putin specifically, as to the cash flow he's getting from the sale of oil, commodities, which that's really where Russia gets most of their money from. And he's feeling the pinch because that is why the 15th wealthiest man in Russia is now under house arrest for embezzlement and stuff, because Putin isn't going to let his money go down. He'll grab it for somebody else around him, man. Just like he grabbed Yukos. So I don't know. I didn't want to put out another update, but I figured I'd better because it's like a psychological thing. I think people are worrying too much. And, you know, it's just be patient with it, because I think the people that are worrying right now, let's leave you with this thought. The people are worrying right now about where it's going to go to and all this type of stuff, the price is going to go to. When it goes up higher, it's going to be more nerve-wracking for them to part with the metal and sell it, because everybody's going to be telling you the dollar's going to zero. So psychologically, if you feel it's the pressure now, wait till you go to sell it later when it's up. You're going to be feeling it more. And I'm not worried about that. I'll take the dollars. I don't care. Anyway, over now.